Subject this morning, as you know, attaining inner peace. Attaining inner peace. Peace like a river flows through me. Thy bliss, O Father, flows through me. Peace like a river flows through me. When Master first came years ago, I remember those words that he spoke of Swami Ram. Peace like a river flows through me. Swami Ram was not referring to ordinary peace of mind, which is a negative state of consciousness, but he is referring to that positive state of consciousness, cosmic peace, inner peace. Peace like a river flows through me. That's what we need. That's what the world needs. The advancement in science which we observe is not giving us any inner peace, is it? People need one thing, and what is that? God. Having Him, they will have inner peace. And so ordinary peace of mind is simply a relief from the turmoil of an uncontrolled mind. A relief from the turmoil of an uncontrolled mind. When you consider your thoughts, how they rush hither and yon, and you seemingly have no control over them, but suddenly, through certain reasons, there's a cessation of that turmoil, you feel relieved. That's ordinary peace of mind. That's ordinary peace of mind. Uncontrolled thoughts give rise to explosions of emotions, and these in turn lead to burned out nerves, restlessness over which we have no control. But through right living, following health laws, correct mental laws, and secondly, through the development of concentration by the techniques which the Master has left, by those methods, you attain self-control, and self-control gives you this state, ordinary state of peace. Ordinary peace, which is simply a relief from a worse condition of turmoil. Understand that. But true or inner peace is something far different. True or inner peace is a positive state of consciousness. It is of God. Ordinary peace of mind is simply a cessation from something which bothers us. But when that comes, if you persist and go further, then the positive state of cosmic peace comes. And realize that's eternal, that's everlasting, it's of God. This ordinary state of ordinary peace is fleeting. One day you feel good. Things are breaking for you, so to speak, and the next day it's worse than ever. Why? These are facts. We might as well face them. We all go through it, and we say, well, I'll start again. You try again. And you feel good. Something happens, as we read in the Scripture. The luck was with you. You feel good, and the next day. Why be that way? Why not go to the source of peace that's lasting, eternal, which is the presence of God within each and every one of us? That's a positive state of consciousness that is of spirit, not of this world. Those who meditate deeply and rise above the duality of this consciousness and above their thoughts and emotions and frustrations, they will positively attain that inner peace. It's of spirit. It is not of spirit manifesting in this dual world. Having that, you'll realize that's what you want. There's nothing but that. No other reality. And so this inner peace is of spirit. Cosmic peace is of spirit, just like cosmic love, cosmic wisdom, cosmic calm, cosmic light, cosmic sound. These are above this duality of existence. That's true inner peace. Peace, like a river, flows through me. It's a real state of consciousness. It is not imagination. It is something to be really desired. Peace, like a river, flows through me. Having that, you will not give it up for anything, because it's of God. That's why. Selfishness and restlessness I have next. And I have an equation marked, no peace. Isn't that so? Selfishness and restlessness, no peace. Just trouble all the time. And this world is filled, as you know, and I know, with selfishness. Everything is for me and for mine. Me and mine. Never mind anybody else. Me and mine. Reminds me of a little cartoon I saw. Perhaps some of you know it. Master said, he says, you want to always tell a couple stories. They feel better. And so this comes to my mind. This little girl was playing, or the little brother of this girl was playing with all her toys. He had them all piled up and he was having a wonderful time. She says, what's the idea? Those are my toys. Mine, mine, mine. Great big mine printed. And the little fella, he just was squelched. Well, she says, here, take this elastic band. You can play with that. And so she left him, and he was playing, and suddenly his hands began to go, and he was having a wonderful time, and she came back. She said, what's going on here? She says, I didn't realize you could have that much fun with that elastic. So there you have it. Everything is me and mine, and if somebody else is seemingly having a better time than you, then we get disgusted. Something's wrong. Why? Because we're selfish, and because of selfishness and ego consciousness, we're restless. And that restlessness is what causes and permeates all of our action. If we would take the attitude of someone else's, do for others, feel them as children of God, that would go away. But it's me and mine, me and mine. You check yourselves. You'll notice how often you say, come up and see my house. Ride in my automobile. I got a wonderful television set. How about the wife, Mrs.? So this gentleman came home one time, and he was always accustomed, I've told this here, but it'll go once more. He was always accustomed to me and mine, mine. He didn't mean anything by it, but nevertheless he felt that due to his habit. So he came home this night, and he came bursting in the kitchen. He says, darling, he says, is my supper ready? She gave it to him, good and hard. Pummeled him, knocked him down under the table. She says, take that, I'm sick and tired of everything mine, 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 mine. So after a while she says, what are you doing down there? Come up, get up, she says. Darling, he says, I'm hunting for our hat. So, next time you say me and mine, think of that story. Now, as long as a man lacks inner peace, he has a restless state of consciousness, and he inflicts that restlessness on others. And that leads to what? Periodic arguments, petty frustrations, and sometimes violence. Because he lacks that inner peace. And restlessness, unless it is curbed, continues, and, as you read the papers, sometimes leads to violence. And man, unless he has that inner peace, he contributes to others his restlessness. That's the worst of it. And yet a man who has attained inner peace and feels the presence of God, when he mixes with others, merges with others, he gives to them a solace. Why? Because he has inner peace. The great magnetic power of his inner peace flows just like Swami Ram said, peace like a river flows through me. And that peace like a river will flow from those who have the presence of God. It will flow to others, soothing them, because it is of God. Realize that. That's what we need. That's what the world needs. The story of the Bible comes to my mind about Abraham. We should do as Abraham did. Instead of trying to rule by this is it, this is the law, now do it. No, persuade people. Persuasion is much better, because persuasion comes from the predominance of inner peace within you. If you have that inner peace, you can persuade people. If you say do it, they say I won't. That's natural. But if you feel the presence of God within you and you persuade them as Abraham did, you can get much more done than laying down the law. And so Abraham said to Lot, they had herds of sheep, and there was trouble between the herdsmen. And Abraham said to Lot, let there be no trouble between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for are we not all brothers? The most beautiful thing. And so, when you deal with other people, try rather to persuade them, feeling them as their brothers. And to do that, you must have that inner peace. Peace like a river flows through me. As it is with individuals, so it is with nations. In this world, we've been brought together by science and radio, scientific developments, so that it ceases to become a matter of government. It is now an individual matter between you and between me. And peace will not come upon this earth until the hearts of men are changed. Until the hearts of men are changed. And they feel the presence of God. They feel that inner peace. And as we read in our scriptures this morning, the force of that inner peace is tremendous because it's a cosmic force. And so each one of us should change our hearts. And if the hearts of men are changed, world peace will come. Not until then. And there is no security. There is no security in worldly things. I'm sure we'll all agree on that. Because there cannot be. Because the world is transient. And this ego consciousness is transient. This outward consciousness is not lasting. It is not eternal. How can there be any lasting peace? There cannot be in worldly things. And where is the peace? Right within ourselves. God is cosmic peace, cosmic love, cosmic bliss. And so the peace is right within ourselves. The Master used to tell about the musk deer who smelt the musk in his own navel and tried to find it and searched here and there, running here and there, wore itself out until it was captured by the hunters. And where was the musk? Right within its own navel. And so with us. The musk of God's presence is right within ourselves. Remember that. The sweetness of God's presence, the inner peace, is right within ourselves. We do not have to find it somewhere. We have to increase, as our Master has said, our knowing of the presence of God within us. And so people need only one thing, and that's God. We all think if I had this, everything would be fine. We get that and everything's worse. Let's be sensible and reasonable. I used to deal in automobiles, not regularly, but kind of on the side. There was a time when you could buy them real cheap from year to year without spending too much money. And I'd get one and I'd say, this is it. It's wonderful. And after a while I'd begin to hear rattles and things weren't just right. And I'd get another. And finally I woke up and thought, well, the real peace is not in automobiles or not in this, not in that. About then the Master came on the scene and he told me where the real peace was. And I'm glad I had sense enough to follow him. And as he said, you will reach your goal, and by the grace of God and his blessing, it is so. And so as I tell you, it is there. It is there. Peace like a river flows through me. Let us all be living testimonies to the great work which the Master has started. He gave His life for it. He has given us the ways and the means to attain this inner peace. Let us do it. And let us be able to say with Swami Ram, peace like a river flows through me. That's what we want. That's what the world wants. The world wants God. The League of Nations is wonderful. It's all right. But the League of Nations should be the League of Hearts. The League of Hearts. Mere intellectual consideration of man's wants is not enough. We cannot solve his earthly problems on intellectual basis. But when each and every one of us realize our connection, our relationship, our kinship with God and with each other, then peace will come upon earth, because the hearts of men will be changed. You've got to change the hearts of men. And when the hearts of men change, when God comes into you, no one will have to tell you what inner peace is. You'll know, because God is peace. God is peace. There's a few lines from the autobiography at this time which express the things which I've been trying to point out in my humble way. Master's written these wonderful words. The grim march of the world political events points inexorably to the truth that without spiritual vision, the people perish. Science, if not religion, has awakened in humanity a dim sense of the insecurity and even insubstantiality of all material things. Look what Russia's done. We depend, thank God, on something more than science. America depends on God. And that will save America. That and that alone. Where indeed may man go, if not to his source and origin, the spirit within? And so through yoga, through self-realization, fellowship yoga, the techniques of which Master has left with us, we can attain union. Union with what? Inner peace, union with God. Inner peace is of God. If you practice the self-realization techniques, the restlessness of which I have spoken, the selfishness of which I have spoken, will vanish. Why? Because by union with God, a far greater state of consciousness comes. A state of His great presence within you. The musk of the presence of God will be a reality to you if you follow self-realization yoga and sincerely and ardently practice regularly. This restless state of consciousness of ego will be displaced or replaced by the positive state of the inner presence of God. Without question. As you practice your yoga, you will see. At first, the thoughts will run you. The restlessness will seemingly, you'll be unable to overcome. But persist. Keep at it. The cosmic forces are behind you, working for you. They will help you to overcome. And then you will see, with the cessation of thoughts and those things that trouble you within, you'll find a state of calm, inner peace, in which you will find all fulfillment. Now, this does not come until you are stayed in God. It does not come until you are merged in Him. Because some days you'll feel all right after your meditation. How about the next day, the next week? You're back again. Why? Because you have not become stayed in God. And so yoga gives you union with God, union with His cosmic forces, but then there must come full surrender to God. And with full surrender, you become perfectly stayed in Him. And what does the Scripture say to those who are stayed in God? In Isaiah, the 26th chapter, the 3rd verse, Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on Thee, because he trusteth in Thee. And so we must be stayed in God. When you are stayed in God, there's no coming down from that wonderful condition of peace within you. You stay there. And no matter whether the world falls apart under your feet, you stay there. Because God is cosmic peace. And you, being a part of Him, being His child, being a ray of His great Spirit, have once more merged in His holy presence. You are stayed in Him. You have attained inner peace.